World War I and its aftermath. World War was triggered by nationalism, militarism, imperialism, and the complex web of alliances. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in June 1914 ignited the conflict. The war involved Germany, Austria-Hungary, France, Russia, and Britain. The war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, which imposed harsh penalties on Germany. The aftermath led to the collapse of empires, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, and German, and the creation of new nations. It also set the stage for economic instability and political unrest, ultimately contributing to the rise of World War II. Instability and discontent after the war contributed to the rise of ideologies such as fascism and communism, which were the key in the following years.
The crisis began in the US as a recession in the summer of 1929, but worsened dramatically after the stock market crash in October. Key causes included stock market speculation, bank failures, overproduction, a decline in global trade, and a lack of financial regulation. The crisis spread worldwide, affecting each country differently. In the US, industrial production dropped by 47%, GDP fell by 30%, and unemployment exceeded 20%. Germany experienced a similar collapse, fueling Hitler's rise to power. The United Kingdom faced a middle recession, while France struggled to recover. Latin America suffered from falling export prices, and Japan experienced a short milder downturn. The crisis helped totalitarian regimes rise. In Germany, economic despair led to Nazi support. In Italy, Mussolini strengthened his rule, while in Japan, economic struggles fueled militarism. In Spain, instability contributed to civil war. The Great Depression not only reshaped the global economy, but also set the stage for World War II.
In Europe, after World War I, four different empires had fallen. The Russian Empire due to the Russian Revolution, as well as the Ottoman, German, and Austro-Hungary Empire, with the treaties signed after World War. So after World War I, Europe changed a lot, and many new countries were born. Also, in order to avoid another war like the previous one, the League of Nations was created, which was an organism similar to the ONU, born inspired on the ideas of Woodrow Wilson. Nonetheless, in many places of Europe, totalitarianism regimes started to appear. These regimes are actually very similar to each other, to the point in which we can identify some characteristics which are common to all of them. First of all of these regimes appear in an environment of inconformity with the status quo. We see this in Russia before the revolution, when a great part of the population suffered from famine and faced a very hard situation. We can also see it in Germany, where people were mad about the punishments that were imposed by the Versailles Treaty, and that also suffered from a hyperinflation, which has even made worse by the crisis of 1929. Another aspect that is common on these regimes is radical nationalism, which was present, for example, on the rise of fascism in Italy. And if we are talking about the totalitarian regimes, an aspect that's clearly present in all of them are the iconic leaders, which were considered as the saviors of their country and as the solution for the hard situation people were living on. Leaders like Lenin, Mussolini, or the most famous one, Hitler, were seen as saviors and untouchable figures who were the solution to all the problems the country faced. All of this power that these figures, such as Hitler or Stalin, had was maintained by many different mechanisms. One of these is propaganda. On the totalitarian regimes formed before World War II, propaganda was inserted in any way possible, from using all of the community and also organizing events such as the public incineration of books. All of this helped the leaders to maintain power, thus they had a tremendous importance for the regimes to be functional. Thus, people as Goebbels, which was in charge of Nazi propaganda, were key, especially as they made people to fully accept the ideas and measures taken by the regime, which served as justification to the terrible acts that these regimes carried out, like the so-called Red Terror, in which any opposition or political enemy was purged, and of course the mass genocide that was carried out, which according to United States Holocaust Memorial Museum sum up to 17 million victims. Thus, at this moment in time, we have three totalitarian regimes in Europe, something that will ultimately end up in the beginning of World War II.
The road to World War II started after the Great Depression, when the economy crashed and people everywhere lost jobs and hope. In the US, President Franklin D. Roosevelt tried to fix things with the New Deal, a set of programs to help people and boost the economy. But in places like Germany, Italy, and Japan, leaders took a different path. They built totalitarian regimes and started expanding by force. Germany in Europe, Italy in Africa, and Japan in Asia. The world had the League of Nations to keep peace, but it was too weak. It had no army, and when countries broke the rules, it didn't stop them. That failure gave dictators the green light, and soon the world was at war again.
But well, how all these themes are related to each other. World War One and its aftermath, the economic crisis of 1929, and the rise of totalitarian regimes are all interconnected, ultimately leading to World War Two. First, the Treaty of Versailles left Germany in economic and political turmoil, fueling resentment and instability. Then the Great Depression further worsened the crisis, allowing fascist leaders like Hitler and Mussolini to rise to power. As a result, these regiments pursued aggressive expansion, while the weak League of Nations failed to stop them. Consequently, in 1939, Germany's invasion of Poland marked the start of World War II, demonstrating how unresolved tensions and economic instability lead to another global conflict.